Next we have the patient's report. So if we start off with this one, it's accessed in the standard way. Hit the new button and it will bring up a list of criteria you can choose from. We have many tabs along the top. Further tabs can be accessed by clicking the arrow. You can select by dentist, status, dates, names, has appointment. You may wish to have people with appointments, people without appointments in your list. Statuses, including last status, if they're blocked or not. Gender, recall in treatment. Mobile numbers, email. This allows you to categorize, select all of your email patients should you need. Here we have various dates. You can select patients who have had an exam in the last year, patients who have attended the practice, patients who DNA'd in the last few months. In this case we've selected patients with the last exam in those dates. And if we move on to schemes, we can even include schemes. User-defined fields, these can be set up as you wish and can also be reported on. Flags are also available from the system, and you can select any flags that you desire, and these patients will then be included in the report. Here you can choose from treatment forms, when if treatment was completed, when it was opened, exemptions, etc. And you can even dive into treatment items themselves, so individual performers, statuses of the treatments, and again options for dates, schemes, but you may wish to choose which sort of treatment the patient has had. Finally, you can choose patients with certain teeth. So if somebody's running a study of people missing certain teeth, this can give you a list of people who are missing those teeth. We can give you a report of which patients are in which areas in terms of postcodes. And pushing that arrow will allow you access to additional information, such as which patients have been sent various documents. Next we have NHS, so you can select exemptions if you wish and report on those. And again we can have people with various teeth that are present in their chart. You can access accounts from here as well, but they can be accessed in other areas. GDPR information. This can be used to select patients who have agreed to receive emails, and then you can produce a report of people who have agreed to GDPR and have email addresses and send them requests for additional work. If we move back to do an example one, I've moved back to the general tab. I'm selecting patient has appointment no, has recall no, and if I run this report, here is a list of all my patients without appointments who do not have recalls. If you look in the bottom right, you have the number of records available, and I can save this as well. So just by pushing the save, I have saved my report, which can then be opened later on. This allows you to create a report you like and run it on a monthly basis. From here, choosing the options at the top, we could send them a letter, we could send them an email, an SMS. That can go to all of those patients in one easy swoop. Reports can be exported, should you wish, and you can also use these reports to change statuses. So you might select all patients belonging to a dentist, and then you can change that dentist to a new one. Here I show you how to send a general letter to all of the patients in that list. Just select, push OK, and they would all receive that letter. Selecting the top right X allows us to close the report and move on to the next one. Here is our balances report. Again, select the criteria you want. This might be age related, balance related. Once the criteria have been selected, just push OK and you'll generate your report. The patient information will be in front of you, including the age of the debt. Along the top we have the option to print this out, send everybody a letter, go into the patient file, or export. Next we have the patient's accounts. Once again, push report, select the criteria you desire, and there we are. You do have an option here of writing off the debt, but warning, this cannot be undone. Now we move on to the recalls report. This is how you get people back in if they are due a recall for a hygienist, for a dentist, for anything really. So you can, if you wish, choose the performer type. You can select from the list, and you can decide how you're going to process the patients. You may wish to choose patients without an appointment for the recall user. That means a patient who is due for a dental appointment will be selected even if they have an appointment for the hygienist. Follow-ups can be used to find people that didn't come in last time. That's your follow-up recall. So in our case, we will select our criteria. If you want, you can move into the scheme area and select schemes, or you can change your recall types at this point as well. But once you're ready, push OK, and here we have our list of recall patients. That is patients who require a recall appointment. You can select it by users. You can see the patient's names, their date of births, what type of recall it is, a dental appointment recall, hygienist. Do they have phone numbers? Do they have email addresses? And do they have future appointments? That's those little ticks there. So a patient might have an appointment already in the book for a extraction, say, but they still need to come in for their next appointment. So here we are going to process, and we are going to send everybody an email, which is a dental recall. Pushing OK would send everybody in that list with an email address a dental recall. If you process again and you select letter this time, then anybody who's outstanding in the list would receive a letter. That is everybody who did not have an email address. However, you can select that reprocess button, click that, and then everybody in the list would receive the physical letter. You can toggle should you wish people to be left out of this list. You can toggle backwards, which would remove everybody further up that list, and skipping forward will remove everybody who is after that point in the list. There we are, skip forward. We have an SMS button to press. This is read SMSs, that is SMSs which haven't been delivered to the patient. If we move to the report tab, this will give you indication month by month of how your recalls have been going on. It'll let you decide how you've been going year to year. Are you improving in your recalls, or patients failing to come back? Next we have the new patient report. Clicking on this and selecting our criteria in the usual way. And OK, we produced our report. This gives a list of all new patients who have entered the practice within that period. You can select by scheme if you want to, and statuses should you wish, and even select which marketing reason the people came from, and how many have paid money to you within the 6-month period of entering your books. Here we have the patient names, date of birth, etc., which performer they are assigned to. Have they attended? You have a little tick there if they've attended, and you have little ticks if they have a booking. Furthermore, you've got the appointment reasons and how much they have paid, and patient flags are shown on the far right hand side. Moving on to the graphical side, here's the graph of how many patients you have received over that monthly period. Along the top we have the options to print, to open the patient record, to export the file. Next we have the payment and allocation report, but that's also available in accounts, so we'll deal with that later. Choosing demographics will give us a list of various patient ages and information. There we are, we've selected our groups we wish to. You can select which dentist the patients belong to, and that gives you that report. Next we will look at the marketing report. Again, open the same way, choose your criteria, and this will just allow you to see why people have came to your practice. In this case we have one person who has came in for the marketing reason of advert in the press. But remember, you can change those marketing reasons yourself, and the detailed summary will tell you why they came in. Schemes. You can have a look at your schemes, so pushing the new button will generate this, and this tells us we have lots of NHS patients and very few of anything else. Here is the access report. Just gives you a rundown of who's been looking at what patients and who it was. So you select a patient, it will give you a summary at the bottom of that screen. Tells you Morton accessed that patient's details on that day. Once again, it can be printed out. And if we close it, we can move on to the next one, payment plans. Payment plans are used to manage patients that have chosen to pay the balance of their payments over a period of time. In the Active tab, we will have a list of all patients who are due to pay that month and the amount that they have to pay. If you push the Reconcile button, it will give a list of everything that needs to be reconciled. These are payments, and have they been paid or have they not been paid? Pushing the Reconcile button will show them as being paid. You do have the option of a batch, which will process all of these selected items. And you can select which payments have not been made. So this would immediately update this patient's record to say they owe that amount that was not paid by direct debit or standing order. Now we move on to the turnover report. Selecting this and selecting your criteria will give you a turnover. Here we have the throughput of how much the patients have paid, and you can select by performer and scheme once again. We will have the total shown at the bottom. Finally, we have the patient portal. This is where you'll monitor replies from patients via the patient portal.